Hey everybody, welcome to BrickVault. Today is another LEGO Top 10 MOCs of the Week episode. Basically, I show you guys the 10 coolest creations we happen to see people building throughout the week. The order in which I show these things off to you don't really have anything to do with a ranking system or anything. These are just the coolest things we happen to see throughout the week. And the stuff you're seeing flash by the screen right now are the models that I did not have time to talk about in this episode, yet all of the links are in the description below, and I highly recommend you guys check out the Flickr accounts, leave comments, and give these guys a follow if that's what you think you want to do. Now let's jump into, let's talk about the custom build that is in our web store this week. Commander Keller, the designer, has been working on this project for a very long time, tweaking the final design as well as putting together some really well-made instructions. This is the Resurgent class Star Destroyer. It is a massive UCS build, excellently detailed and incredibly strong. You can actually pick this thing up by the belly, which is definitely not the case for the original UCS Star Destroyer set. And let's jump into the very first build of the week. This is actually an update build. I featured this, I think, 2 weeks ago. This is from Marco DeBon, and the title is MaraBIA and Midnight Ranger. I believe MaraBIA is the name of this city, the micro-scale city that he has been building and adding on to throughout the last couple of weeks. And now he has made a very large robot, looks Pacific Rim size, to scale with the micro city. Number one, I wanted to highlight this because the actual build style for the city is wonderful. I think it's also really well lit and well composed in terms of the size and colors of all the different buildings. It's just a great looking piece. I love that he's been adding it on to what was originally just a beach town section, and then he's combined it completely with a different type of build style, making this small yet very detailed Gundam style big mech robot. Excellent looking model. And then number 9 comes from the builder Brick Ninja. It is Magisto's Magical Workshop. From what I can tell, I feel like there is a wizard or a magical workshop wizard. He's being attacked by ghosts and or ghouls. Those are the minifigs from Ninjago, I believe. And from what I can tell, they are not appreciating his fire spell very much. He's got a swamp build that comes out with the side built brick, so you can see it's really kind of a deep, dark, murky bit of water there. I've never seen a tree design built quite this way with all of those dark green vine pieces. And the actual structure of this workshop with the house and the crossed beams at the top just looks wonderful. Now for the number 8 build in the lineup, this is the epitome of an amazing seed piece that has caused quite a bit of inspiration for Nicolas Rosen, that is the builder, and it's called Locket. For those that don't know the term seed piece, that refers to the Lego piece when you're looking through your parts bin and you find something and you look at the shape and it inspires a build around it. I have no doubt in my mind that the housing for the larger spring shooter that we've seen for many years and most recently came out in a lot of those Star Wars action sets was the inspiration for this little train engine that makes up the main bit of the body with those ribs that are coming out of the cylinder. And I feel like this is just a perfect example of how a creative builder can find a shape that registers within the bricks and make a simple build to match around the sides. It's such a good little micro build. Now this next design, or massive mock, I should say, it's not just one design, is a collaborative build from not just Chubby Bots but also Freddie Tan and Benjamin Chen, and it's a very, very large battle scene comprised mostly of extremely large mechs and a lot of heavily armored foot soldiers. Normally when you see something like this, it's usually in the Star Wars theme or it's based off of Castles and Knights or something, and often a very big mock like this is really impressive, mostly because it's just so large. That is not the case when it comes to this one though. I think it's called the BMD Hangar, because when you look up close at any of these small builds or large builds, you'll find that they are detailed down to an extremely small degree. So that means when you look at this giant build area from afar, you'll be really impressed, and then when you put your face very, very close to any of the scenes, you'll be even more impressed. This is something that we strive for when building our giant Yavin mock. If you're paying attention to the countdown, this next build up is number 6 in the lineup. From the builder York Chang, we have Medieval Trade Cog. Maybe cog is a word for an old ship, I'm not totally sure. But what's so fun about this model for me is that it feels like it's built simple enough to look like a Lego set, or like something that Lego could produce as a set if they ever decided to revisit the Castle and Knights theme. but it's also just incredibly detailed. He even shows how the side panels are attached, and it really does look quite simple, and it's just a fun looking sail ship all around. Now, number 5 comes from Thomas Guion, and the primary build I want to look at here is the 1969 AMC AMX and the Rambler. First of all, wonderful color combination. He's got these guys built at an absolutely awesome scale. They feel like they would fit perfectly within any city set, and the cars themselves feel very recognizable, very distinct, and just a step ahead of what we might see coming from a Speed Champion set, just in terms of build detail and quality. If you take a look through his Flickr, you'll find tons of amazing car builds, and his latest one is the 1967 Ford Mustang Shelby GT500. Just look at that slant on the hood, how it just ever so subtly comes back. These builds from first glance might look simple, but I have a feeling they're quite complex on the inside. Now, this next one up, number 4, is from Sven Franek, and it definitely has been making the rounds amongst the LEGO community this week. It's called FetchBot. I believe this harkens back to an older time. This is what robots looked like back in the 1960s, I think, and it's just a wonderful use of pieces. Those arms, those little claw arms, I think came from the latest wave of Ninjago sets, those weird little spinner pieces. And interestingly enough, I feel like one of the main things that makes this model work quite well is the color combination. Actually, now looking at the description, yes, those hand pieces are the turntables from the new Ninjago sets, and I have a feeling they're probably the seed piece. So very cool. I can definitely see why this has been making the rounds within the LEGO community last week. And then we're in the top 3. I don't know why I say top 3. That doesn't necessarily mean they're the 3 best. It doesn't matter. Anyway, moving on. This is from Greg Dix, and it's 5 Fort George. That is the name. And personally, I love this point in history where the boat trade had just sort of opened up between Europe and the Americas, and many of the ones had to be guarded from pirates with these nice adobe forts, cannons over the walls, and they were often set in Jamaica or parts of the Caribbean. Well, anywhere actually, but if you've ever visited these areas, they do look pretty interesting, because essentially these were the last of the old school castles that were built. They actually ended up in the Caribbean, and they had this interesting red roof and white adobe build style to them. This too is a wonderfully large build with excellent details all the way down to the stud anywhere you look, and I'm also very happy that a new beachfront area detailing for that has been developed here, at least something that I haven't seen before. So as the surf on the sand gets a little bit higher, it's studded and it moves into the jungle, but right as you can see where the waves have been washing up and down along the edge, the sand has been smoothed out, and those bricks are actually built on their sides, and there's a layering effect with dark tan being the wet sand, light tan being the sand that where the waves aren't hitting right at the moment, but they're still flat from having just been washed up upon from before. The clear blue water is a little bit darker right around the edge there, and dang it, does that not look amazing. It's probably some of the best tropical water that I've seen before. We were thinking about building a Scarif MOC at some point, and this is a technique that I think we would certainly be taking notes from, because I haven't seen this surf line look quite as good from anybody else before. I know I'm focusing just on this one little bit of building, but anyways, there's a bunch of amazing details to check out in this fort, and I highly recommend you go searching through his Flickr and really taking a closer look, deep diving into this massive model. Now, number 2 comes from Ben Qazi, and it's called Narshada Cantina. He's got a full backstory to this. I haven't gone into it. What I really care about is the build. The bar has a great way of jutting out against the tan wall. It kind of reminds me of how like a 1950s bar might look, but you can still see that it feels very Star Warsy with the golden pipes coming around the back, similar to how the Tatooine bar was set up. And then what really fleshes this whole area out are the characters. You can see a lot of recognizable ones from Star Wars. Looks like all the main bounty hunters really are hanging out here. And then some interesting, creative new people as well when you look closer. Now for the final build of the week, this is somebody that we've featured many times before in the past, but haven't in quite a long time. Siruni Kato has an extremely unique, very specific style of building, and they've remained consistent with this for years now. I think it makes sense because this guy builds mechanical animals with a very specific color combination, with the outer armor always being white, and then he's got dark gray and light gray highlights with a black, usually black Technic structure, clipping things together on the inside. The model isn't held back back in certain ways, what you get is a model that proportionally feels extremely real, and it can be posed in a way that makes it feel incredibly alive. If this model had been built with the dark green, by the way, I'm talking about the Crocodile Mark II -07, that's the name of the model, but if it had been built with realistic colors and made to look as organic as possible, I feel like it would have been limited in the way that the body itself now looks so incredibly real. It almost feels oxymoronic or completely not intuitive to how you think it would work, but honestly, I think these mechanical creatures that Siruni Kato creates feel more real and alive than just about any of the other large-scale Lego animals that you see other people making. So, anyways, those are my thoughts. Those were the top 10 models. What's flashing by the screen are still other models linked in the description below. And if you enjoy our content, you can always like or subscribe. Let me know what you thought were your favorite creations, and we'll see you next time at BrickVault. Hey everybody, wanted to pop in very quickly, let you know that we've got a Lego web store, www.brickvault.toys, where we sell these step-by-step instructions for some incredibly awesome Lego MOCs. The revenue from the web store helps support us here at the channel, as well as the designers that build these amazing Lego designs. So anyways, thanks a lot for watching, everybody. Check us out at www.brickvault.toys, and we'll see you next time at BrickVault.